normally does watch over on that channel. We are live now. Things were a little bit strange with the clean feed, so it took us a little while to come back online. Level 1. 1 second. Ooh, we have a bit of an audio desync, so what I'm going to have to do quickly is just go... Is there going to be a level 2 all in? Nope. Doesn't look like it. 1 second. Let me just click on this. Then hopefully it'll be fine. It'll skip again probably one more time. Looks like it's doing better now. Cool. Do you think WE can win early? Easily. I think WE have a better composition. I think that FPX are playing... oh wow, Karis and Tay in 100 games? They've only been playing like 1 year here. What do you mean they've hit 100 games already? Early push from Jachi and Dway is going to be fine down here. Now, I do think that Jachi and Dway have been very good, and I think that... Yeah, I think that if FPX are going to find a win, I think it's actually going to be through Jachi and Dway, because I think that while Tay and Vampire have had some good games, they've not been as good as last split. I think that Jachi and Dway are a duo which I really respect. Sorry if this has been asked before, which draft do you prefer here? I do prefer Team W's. I do prefer them. I think that Milky Way is going to have a hard time on the Vi. I think that what's going to happen if Vi jumps in is we're going to see a Trundle jumps on them, and then everything else kind of goes to hell after that point. Isn't it a bit weird to go front to back with such a short range AD carry? Normally, yes. However, Kai'Sa is very, very good at repositioning into the optimum position for DPS. Okay. Well, folks, I gotta go and brush my teeth, so I'm gonna leave you alone with Sam for a little bit. And then you can figure it out until I go do that.
Well, how about Alex was talking about that with Kai'Sa in particular. It's been a specialty pick of Taeyun for a little bit. Definitely one of his more comfortable champions, to say the least. Hey, Kierkegaard, good to see you. Named after a very famous philosopher. Solo Samcast, only briefly, but yes, we are here. FPX, of course, got the win. WE have got nothing as yet. It's been a miserable time to be a WE fan if you're out there. Things were looking so good after last split, and things just haven't really turned to form as yet in summer. See whether they can turn things around. Okay, TPing back into the mid lane. Gone for the RE Vi combo. We don't see a lot of RE Vi these days, but of course Milky Way on that Vi gives yourselves a lot of options. Good to know, by the way. Thank you very much, Amber, about the JDG Weibo notification as well. Yeah, we have still got issues with typhoons out in China. Is causing a lot of disruption to games. See how it goes from there. Vampire gonna get crashed down, and actually Jachi going forward with the Valkyrie. I think he just gets the kill here. Oh, Vampire getting the flash out, just about alive. Jachi, maybe if they'd flashed a little earlier, it could maybe have gotten a hold of that. But either way, Summoner's down, good engage, and now Taeyun with no mana. Not gonna have a lot of fun sticking around in this lane. That's gonna cost them. Taeyun, I don't know whether you can afford to recall there. Yep, there we go. It is cancelled and moves away. Weird seeing Milky Way finally back. It is a little odd, isn't it? I'm glad he is. Glad he's getting to play somewhere. He's not stuck languishing on RNG for the rest of the year. Monkey, though, spotted out here, going down towards this dragon. So that's likely going down. Do they want to contest this? I think they do. They're going to try and get over there. Find the charm there onto Karis. Monkey getting this down to about 5 times through 2,000 HP. Getting some value there. It's good work. All the while, Milky Way going to come on over, looking for this angle on in. There's the pillar. The equalizer comes on down. Dragon secured by Monkey. And Karis going to try and roam up at the back of it. They land the charm and cancel it. Vampire, remember, burned his summoners upside the top lane. Likely going to go down. Karis over the wall with the flash. But Vampire dies. Gives a reset to Care. Another one. As the Ahri and the Rumble pick up one each.
Charm landing under tower now onto Cube. No follow-up onto Cube as FPX get the early game fight they really, really needed to get. This team is not one which will survive later on versus Team WE, so the fumble around the Dragon is one which FPX will take very, very happily for themselves. Milky Way getting himself 2 kill participation. And that early game on the Vi 2 will definitely help them. Let's go back into the replay of how this worked. W playing around the Dragon, which is choked them out very low. Karis starts this fight at half HP, which is not really where you want to be. The Realm Warp is defensive and doesn't really do much. And at this point, we are obligated to mention, Care is an RE1 trick. Before he went into pro play, he was an RE1 trick in the high elo Chinese super server, and he, last year for me, was a top 5 Ahri in the world. Now, he is a very streaky player. He's not often remained at that level. But when he does show those peaks, you are reminded why this guy has been so high peak at these brief moments.
Seeing the ceiling of this guy on things like the Ahri can be very, very dangerous. So far here, as he finds himself. 3 Dark Seal stacks gets involved there. Of course, part of that is also blown by the fact that JDG and Jway found a really good engage on Vampire in the top lane. Forced both summoners, couldn't quite get the kill, but forced the reset. It was good timing stuff.
Another thing as well, Care comes away with two Ultimate Hunter stacks too.
Very true.
Which for the first ult of the game, look, as an Ahri player, first ult of the game, you get 1 ult Hunter stack, you're thinking, yeah, you know, that's pretty good. And if you get a Dark Seal stack on top of that, you're thinking, hey, that's pretty decent as they block the cannon, that's nice. But getting 2 ult Hunter stacks and also an extra Dark Seal stack on there too is just really, really nice. You are now in a much better position than you were. Milky Way has his ult back up. He might need to flash the pillar. Yeah, this is the Vi Classic where you kind of hop from outer vision over that mid wall into the mid brush. Doesn't have flash ult anymore now. Care has his ult in 5. Taeyeon has his and cleanse and flash. I'm not sure FPX love this as much.
Vampire Hex flashes out of the warp the bush. He's got that control ward in the bush.
Oh,
Jway with the Magnus over the backline. Gets the cleanse off Taeyeon, who's just about alive. Care trying to reset. Vampire still level 5. Not going to have that ability to stay alive. Reset for Care. Looking for more damage. Taeyeon has to flash the recall on that Orb of Deception. Monkey just wide on the charm, but the damage in many ways is truly done.
Really great engage from Jway. We were saying a little earlier, if FPX are to find a win against WE, it might well be through this bot lane. JDG and Jway have done very, very well for FPX, despite them struggling at the start of the split. They're now having to integrate a jungler into their roster too with Milky Way. But Jway is such a fantastic engaged player, you know, against another support player who Vampire just gets alley-oops. You know, Vampire's job there is to punt Laurel away, and he just gets hand-stiffed. He doesn't manage to land the cancel, doesn't have the level 6 either. He's lost some XP from that fight earlier. Love the way that Care ends up weaving auto attacks in here to make an early actual kill threat as well. He walks away with 5 Dark Seal stacks now as well, although sadly not an extra ult Hunter stack, so it's the second kill onto the Alistar.
Rough stuff for the side of WE. Now down 1,500 gold. A lot of that gold as well is in some very scary spots. See, Rumble is ahead of the curve. See, the Ahri is ahead of curve. 5 stacks on that Dark Seal, doing very, very well. Yeah.
And again, just another update, folks. The second series today, which would have been Invictus Gaming, Weibo,
JDG.
Sorry. It's not that series. It would have been Weibo JDG. That's the one. Weibo JDG has been postponed due to heavy rainfall. Apparently, a number of people in the surrounding areas of Beijing have lost their lives. Now, that's not around Shanghai, which is the neutral venue. However, this is very, very serious weather alerts. If you are in the area, please stay safe. It's not obviously a laughing matter. And I really hope that, I really hope that everyone's managed to stay as safe as they can. So other news, Care, I believe that is the 1,000 kills in
one
the
would
LPL.
assume, yeah. Congratulations to him. Slightly unfortunate that we had to mix a little bit of the more serious there with something a bit more celebratory. But there we go, Care. Congratulations on the 1,000 kills on the Ahri of all things as well. A well-hit milestone there for this player. Recalling on vision there is Milky Way. There you go. Again, feel free to ask about that again, guys. We are paying attention. Obviously, I know people will be wondering why the hell we're not getting a second series. Again, it basically is just real-life stuff. Thank you for pinning that over in Twitch chat. Amber, one of our mods, sorting us out over there. We'll make sure that the other chats get a heads up on that one as well.
Yes, only the one series today, folks. Happened a little bit earlier in the split too. Both of the series, which have been suspended, will be postponed until the 28th of August, which would be, hang on a second, Vampire, Karis rather.
Gonna get the chomp onto Vampire, who does have the flash back up. Maybe look to force it here. Does have another chomp, gets a fair amount of damage done, but not too much more. That's the ult down on Milky Way and on Care. Doesn't really let us get as much as I think they were hoping for there.
Yeah, they do end up getting, wait, Taeyeon's used his ult. That's actually pretty notable as well. But yeah, Karis will survive. Vampire headbutts away the Ahri. That's what he was meant to do in that last play. This is where the ult got used by the Kai'Sa, because I mean, it's just a core keep running at them. It's gonna be a dragon secured for FPX. They'll stop the dragon stacking. Milky Way doesn't have his ult just yet. Care, of course, he's just on cooldown. Has that malignance though, as we saw before, so it's on a very short cooldown.
Does indeed. WE now in a spot of bother down there, I think it is fair to say.
Well, the thing is, Vampire saved his ult from the last fight.
True,
so
yeah.
actually, I don't think they are. If Vampire had used his ult before, I'd agree with you. Because you think, okay, Squishy, even though whether you don't have your ults, maybe there's a chance of a kill. Especially with Tame without ult as well. But because Vampire has that unbreakable will and has both the summoners, quite hard to really make anything work.
Yeah,
Diving in Alistair sucks.
I thought he might not have reset, and I was thinking, okay, he's going to be on like half HP, and then I hadn't realised he's actually reset as well. So end up with a lot of tools there to work with. So perhaps a little over eager there in my estimations. Sheer though, going to be claiming up that wave, not too much to be seen there. K-Nick Rooker from Cube, very sensible into the double AP solo laners. Even Corky, though he does less mixed damage than he once did, there was always that age-old adage about him having a bit of magic damage in there.
Yeah, nowadays it's a little bit more about that, because what they ended up doing was changing a lot of his abilities over to physical damage.
They did,
so so his ult now is physical damage, which is used to be magic damage. I believe his fast bomb still is magic, but yeah, it's not enough to go towards Sword Pen boots anymore because because of the damage changes, you just don't get enough value out of it. What you do get is that 10% of your auto attack damage is converted over to true damage, which is just really nice to just kind of get that extra little bit on top there. Jashi's doing really well at denying farm from Tane, by the way. Just standing in front of odd bits of minions and stopping that's been pretty effective. And you know, this draft, I was saying WE better draft. They outscale FPX. They need to get early fights, but eventually Vi's going to jump into a Trundle ult, and it's going to be kind of crappy after that point. I really think they needed the early leads, and they are getting some decent ones.
Ow, that's going to force an exhaust off Vampire onto Jachi. Yep, that one stings. Again, at this point of the game, the 24th on the Corki is about as strong as he gets right now in the current meta.
The early power of Corki is nasty. FPX's bot lane, good showing from them so far. Dre had that fantastic wombo. Chachi's been bullying at Taeyin, a player who we've gotten a lot of respect for, despite the misgivings on him coming through from LCK. He was one of the lower tier prospects coming into the league. He did very well last split, very well. Right now though, down how much CS? 30 CS. We'll pick up a little bit of that as a cannon came into turret, but Jachi's doing so well at getting some extra value there.
Very much so. Cube, at this point in the game, kind of happy to only be a couple down. Actually, Ari getting jumped on here. Gets the pillar down. Will flash away. Didn't quite have the ult up, I don't think.
Oh my god, Cat. Did he just do a charm flip?
I think he might have done.
I think the particle came out slightly further away, so he didn't end up doing it that way. There's a very fun, useless Ari mechanic when you charm behind you, flash over it, and it flips the charm to come out the original direction you wanted to go in the first place.
Let's see if he did that.
No, but look, I know he didn't, but I was thinking something like, hang on a second, that looked like what I do, and I'm not making much sense.
So this is we're about 14 minutes in when that happened. Maybe in the break we go back and watch it, so we can find it on a YouTube video.
Sam, I'm loading that shit up right now.
He's gonna find out. There we go.
Because that's something like, come on a sec, that's Agon Chue is going to get some board, get something into that. Yeah, the flash down on Ari definitely is a decent win because he's been using that charm flash
quite aggressively. Yeah. Let's see how that all works out. Jachi will go full tilt briefly. Don't go full tilt in your solo queue, guys. It's like when you're running on horses.
My man did it.
He did it. He did the charm flip.
Now, he missed the skill shot. So again, the kudos is now lost. However,
Milky Way gonna get potentially some value on Vampire. Went forward.
I'm not sure about that,
damage on that one.
Like, he doesn't want to blow his ult. Maybe he was thinking he could get... I don't know. He already used his headbutt to go forwards. If he'd managed to flash forwards, then... No, headbutt Milky Way back into his team very far away from follow-up. Potentially that could have been useful. Vampire does get a Celestial opposition. He's going to lose a lot of HP. As Vampire, these face checks are really not good for your team, friend.
Unbreakable Wolf's about to come on down. Monkey has got at least got that frozen domain. Care on a flank angle. Is it a flash?
The flangle.
The flangle. I sort of ended up with flash and angle together, and I just couldn't figure out which word I wanted to use. Not necessarily the best moment for a caster, but hey, here we are.
That's going to be the feat of strength over towards FPX, by the way, who have been really doing very well in this early game. WE, they've just not been approaching objectives very well. You know, when they've approached them, they've not been able to disengage the Rels. They've not been able to find their own engage because Vampire has been losing his HP and his ultimate a little too easily. WE must sort that out. They can absolutely win objective fights in the future, and I think their composition is well set up to do so. But you can't do that with this kind of phase check. You need the Ornn coming in at the same time. You need Monkey coming in at the same time. You cannot have one frontliner doing that on their own, and I think that's a mistake from WE. As a team, they will have to approach as a unit a little better. Dragon is going to be spawning now. Ari on the top side of the map pushing out, again with that Malignant's completion. Ryze is there too. Care can teleport down at any time. Might recall, it's been a while since they've gotten the back off. Feats of strength giving that extra pen from the boots for now.
For Dragon we go. Pillar already down. Taeyin on a potential Good approach here, but the teleport's coming on through means he's going to have to retreat back towards that mid-wave. We'll clear that away with the Acathian Rain. Care, though, looking for an angle. Missed the charm onto Vampire, but in comes the call of the forward god. Care in danger. It's a double flashbomb, but Dwayne turns it around. Nice damage back onto the Alistair, who ends up getting low. Dwayne also in danger as Taeyun gets into the backline, but the turnaround with Milky Way. Cease and desist on Taeyun. He got the support, but they were already waiting for him. The killer instinct, it was all a lie, a ruse, and the counterpunch claims so many more.
Magical Milky Way. What an insane mid-fight turnaround. FPX find the AD carry as he's trying to go into the fight. It's a classic full contact team fighting moment. They go in, you hit back harder. FPX find a way to turn their retreat into a killer blow. Watch this replay. The start is a better engage from Vampire. I actually think he does a great job of getting onto the targets here. He's still lost half his HP, but this is a great flash engage. Ended up getting 2 and stopping the rail engage. That's about as good as you can ask for. The very special part of this fight, though, comes just after. Kez got a reset, and as everyone jumps forwards, Milky Way gets the huge Q into ult, and the knock of the ult applies it to both carries of Karis and Taeyun. Insane from Milky Way. We've been waiting for this player to come back out onto the Rift, and this is a hell of a showing from him.
Yeah, he's never been shy to be a playmaker. Sometimes the playmaking just hasn't been synced up with the team. We saw that with the Xin Zhao the other week. Yeah. We've seen where it goes wrong, but that was really nice. And also, Sheer just gets an excellent equalizer afterwards. It's across everyone. Perfectly what you want. Now you look at those Dark Seals. Ari's fully stacked. Rumble's got 5 stacks. You needed to snowball. Those additional numbers are really helping at this point.
And what is really crucial about this kind of composition, mid-jungle, the playmakers of FPX are both 100% kill participation. Care has 5 Dark Seal stacks. That means that his ultimate is now going to be almost half cooldown between, you get about 50 ult haste from Malignance, from the ult hunter. I think it's about 36. You have currently 86 ult haste. 100 haste is what it takes to halve the cooldown. So you're about at level 11. You'd normally be around. I'm trying to think if it's 110 seconds or 110. It's now more like a 60-second cooldown,
which is ridiculous.
Which is very fantastic. It's very useful when you are this far ahead of the game.
I think I'm right in saying that the ult cooldown starts as well once you've cast your first ult. So actually your time while it's actually not active is a lot shorter than you think, because it starts the cooldown on your first use of ult.
And when you press that, you have 15 seconds to use it. Hang on a second. Flash forced away. There's clean feed skipping about a little bit. Going to be some way play down there. W don't have any grubs to use, which is thing there. So when Ari casts ult, 15-second cooldown timer to use the rest of your charges. If you get a kill, it sets the timer to 10 and will take down from there. It doesn't add 10 seconds, just sets it to 10. So you'll get 15, you get a kill, goes to 10. So technically, if you've managed to splice it out, you can just permanently have ult on the best case scenario, which is very fun.
Pretty wild. Be the case right now. Vampire potentially in danger. Cease and desist in the backline, looking to get some value. One of Karis needs to start running away. Call of the forward god from the Orn. Could be scary. Vampire also low. That's Jachi been jumped on. Got a barrier. Needs to think about Valkyrie away. Goes down as the killer instinct comes on through. Rune Prism onto Dwayne, who can't escape, and the collapse from WE from 3 angles proves too much.
Nice stuff. Now, is this going to net them anything? Atakan's on the table. That's got to be the answer there. Jachi getting caught out, and WE find the engage combo they've been looking for. They are not out of this game, despite FPX having a good start to it. WE will manage to get some extra value elsewhere. They'll be able to push in on top side, get a tower there. They might even be able to threaten mid lane inner. Milky Way using his Q there. Charm missing means that the threat onto Karis is gone, but it still will be a tower on the top side of the map. W not unhappy to get the Atakan though. That's still a good victory for them.
Really good TP ward there from Q by the Raptor Pit. Gets him behind enemy line, so while Milky Way is running at Karis, you've then got that flank angle from the Call of the Forge God, which becomes absolutely impossible to stop out close to a certain point, and yes, you'll get a turret on the top side, and that's great, but WE, they needed a win. That's the win they needed. They get a turret bot side as well. Gold lead, only 3,000 or so, plus you get all those petals. Gets you to a good point, potentially correct, and there is that
That's
teleport.
A fantastic ward. Fantastic ward. As Vampire came in, try to go on to Karis, but then they don't realize how... Look, Milky Way, that's a bad ult. It doesn't really do damage to the Rise, and there's no follow-up. You then don't have your Viol to deal with someone like the Kai'Sa. So honestly, Milky Way, despite that fantastic engage around the last fight, that one's a little bit on him as well. I think they could have fought back from that position. Also, by the way, I'm obligated to tell you, Care has 10 Dark Seal stacks. He should upgrade that. You do not want to be overcapping on Dark Seal stacks. It loses you value. Has the Leandries though, which is very good against that front line. We can go towards a bit more pen now at this point. Upgrade the boots can definitely help some percent pen a little bit earlier. It's not like there's the tanks are out of control just yet. That could be a huge point of power for Cat.
Okay, Nick Rukern just getting upgraded as well, so those magic resist stats are going to start coming on through sooner rather than later as well, so I think getting ahead of that curve will be very important. Second round done for the Kai'Sa. Rod of Ages nearly stacked fully from Karis. The point where WE's ability to really fight back is nearly there.
Dragon's coming up in 40 seconds. W are not responding to top lane. FPX could just give up this and take an inner turret. They have the 3 grubs. I like how FPX are doing this. FPX, you know, they ended up backdooring IG the other day. They have FPX with Milky Way actually always were a macro team. They always were. They were very, very good at finding different openings on the map. Now, Care will be late to the Dragon setup because of this, but they will get themselves an inner turret. We'll see if that funds Care an item for the fight. You'll get 700 gold. He recalls now and comes in with another big component or something that could potentially really help this fight.
Got lots of wards in the mid lane. Care can absolutely TP back in, so keep your eyes on that. Second ward down in the mid lane. Here comes Care with that teleport. It's the Medjay.
There we go.
Dragon going down. Do they want to play this?
Well, I mean, it's hard to engage into the Ornn. They'd rather take the inner turret, I think. Okay, so they're saying, look, we'll give you the second Dragon. We don't look for the bad fight on bad terrain. Milky Way could get knock up here.
Does get knocked up. Gonna turn around briefly. Gets over the wall. Realm warp to the other side.
It's a good realm warp. It's a good realm warp because it gives them the inside track back towards that tower. They're a little bit afraid FPX of that CC combat, and they can't really engage into Fog of War against an Ornn, Alistair, realm warp as well. That's kind of how you lose games.
How you lose, yeah.
Decent damage there coming out from Care. Doesn't have any pen just yet. If he does get any more kills, he will start to go supersonic with the stacks.
And onto them, Trundle, they try and turn. Cease and desist is used to immune the Realm Prison, Rune Prison. Doing it again. You've caught me out again, Alex. I hate that you've brought this in my brain. Milky Way gets out.
Okay, yeah, the Realm Prism and the Rune Warp. Care has one last shot. Gets some decent damage there. One needs to force the flash, though.
And now Vampire gets mounted up on. He's in danger. Does about get the shield. No way does he survive. Now Jachi's in danger as Taeyun goes over the wall. Massive turnaround, though. Over comes Milky Way. Monkey does get the chomp to finally get the skill of the kill. Cheer flashing on in with that speed up. Trying to get some value. Just about kills off Monkey. Cube getting a knock up, but the charm after is solid. Equalizer across 2. Karis and Cube need to keep running. Milky Way with the Vault Breaker goes down to the Spell Flux flow over, but Rise goes down as Sheer sets them on fire.
Care had one of the most magnificent RE team fights very quietly in the background to get FPX their 10,000th kill. Care got the burnout onto Vampire to kill him as he retreated. It looked like he survived. He didn't. The Liandry's took him down. And then after that, continually applying burn, Care walks away with 22 Medjay stacks. That is the holy grail of RE teamfights, where you end up just getting so much value with your extra charges. The last charge comes through, and I think Vampire thinks he has a turnaround, but he gets outplayed by the charm, and he thinks, oh, he's gotten away with the shield. The Liandry's is still ticking, and he goes down. Care ends up getting the kill with that, gets another charm onto the Kai'Sa. That's another fantastic play from him. Walks forward, realizes these are only bruisers and tanks in front of me now. Applies the burn to Monkey, kills him next, gets a charm onto the Rise, gets a double Q throughout it as well, continually applies the extra burn, gets time and time again extra burn coming through, and applies the Liandry's, which allows Sheer to get that extra kill onto the Ornn as well. Care, that is a 10 out of 10 RE team fight.
So well played. The Rumble comes away with 10 stacks on that Dark Seal after that as well, and suddenly you're in a very nice position as those two champions. Dway actually potentially in danger with Care coming on over. Makes this tricky. Good chunk onto Monkey. Pella comes on down. Care now in danger. I think those stacks are gone. Now he's going to be in danger as Dway. He has to back away. Realm Warp coming on through. Equalizer at the choke point. Trying to get some value back, but they just don't have the follow-up anymore.
Care didn't have ult, gets a little bit too hypey there, gets caught in by that pillar, and the follow-up isn't there. If you had the equalizer on Milky Way there at the start of the fight, that's fine. But they disrespect, and now suddenly with Baron alive, and no big ultimates available really besides the Vi one, FPX shouldn't really be looking to contest this now.
TP back in means all the damage into Cube means very little. Milky Way gets the stun onto Cube. Nice damage back, actually. They're getting shredded. Sheer goes in, doing a lot of work. Baron secured, going golden, but he has got the Flame Spitter running. Vampire trying to buy some time. Milky Way misses the Vault Breaker, still gets the kill, head back in, and the Cease and Desist gets KU'd. What about Karis? Missing that Vault Breaker, but they still kill 3. And when, oh when, is Care coming back up? Got a teleport, not available, so he won't be able to get there. 3 people die as FPX will not be able to stop them taking the Baron.
So this is the play which happened on top side. He used the ultimate to try and pick off Vampire, and then he stuck around without it. That's not great from him. Still has over the 10 stacks. He's still in fantastic position and upgraded the Spell Singer's shoes for that percentage pen. Also on his way to a death cap, so Care, when he comes out onto the field, is still going to be, again, a walking warhead. WE, they have been outfought by FPX. FPX have had better team fights. I really think that Care's Ahri has been a huge difference between the two teams. I think that Dway on the rail has consistently managed to find good access onto the back line, and that's allowed Milky Way good access onto the back line too, let alone Sheer and his ridiculous AoE coming through it too. If he applies the bloodletters across the team, the Ahri's going to hit even harder. This is the play of the Baron itself. You can see that Cuban Vampire, they use just a little too much HP trying to defend the Baron. Just a little too much. Vampire realizes he's going to die most likely, but this spends a little too much. Ends up then headbutting Milky Way into his AD carry.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think, look, Vampire, you have to die gracefully there. That was not dying gracefully. That is, go on, take Taehyun with you.
Yeah, legitimately, I think Milky Way dies if he doesn't get to cease and desist over that wall. Genuinely.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably cease and desisting someone, but if Taehyun's alive, that is a big win for WE. 20 seconds now onto the Dragon Spawn, would be third for FPX. And WE, they do have some Ornn items coming through, but FPX still have, good amount of damage. You see that Lord Dominic's Regard starting to really hurt onto Cube from the AD carry now.
Again, that shield is a bit deceptive, right? If it's the Corki hitting you, that's not a shield means very little at this point. Of course, doesn't mean Corki has to be in range of things, and one of the things you realise as Corki gets later into the game, his actual active range to do damage is surprisingly short. Dragon started by FPX.
W's going to miss. See if there's a flash engage from Vampire. He's been typically very good at using that to buy time for the Ornn ultimate to come through. Dragon's down. Instead, W will push the mid lane, trying to find some value from that with their Baron buff, which of course they did claim beforehand.
Last card out. Sheer potentially in danger here. Thinking about turning this one around. The charm goes wide. I think Sheer may have to flash. I don't know how easy that's going to be. The Call of Forge got reactivation onto Sheer, but he doesn't get to go golden. They've killed him. Nice angle back, but he gets the equalizer down before he dies. Valuable from Sheer. Turn around from the cube, trying to get to the backhand. Does get to work, but Care kills off another. Taehyun goes golden, but to what end? There's a Vault Breaker waiting. Janchi survives. No! Flash from Taehyun to get the Acathian raid on the Corki, but all the while Care is still chasing, trying to get the burn down onto Cube, who doesn't have the flash. How much speed again? He's got the Foxfire speed up. There's the rest of the W, and the true damage from the Orb of Deception brings down that big old Forge Guard.
WE think they can kill Sheer before that massive equalizer could come down, but they can't, and the Bloodletter goes wild. Care, another great team fight from him where he realizes, okay, I don't have to stick around for this last kill. I can start going and chasing down for another one while they clean up the back end here. Sheer gets caught with that pillar against the wall. That's good from Monkey. He's playing it well, but he outplays Vampire. Ends up getting away from that combo and dragging them back into the choke point. The equalizer comes down in his dying breath, and the Dway ultimate over the top of it is absolutely sublime. They do have the damage onto tanks if you have Ahri and Rumble DPSing them, because they shred so much resist between them that it just really ticks up. Watch what Care does here. Realizes he doesn't have to stick around for Taehyun at this point, and then starts chasing down for the Ornn on the other side. Jachi goes too far and he ends up dying, but the extra reset allows Care to go in for this extra kill onto Cube to make sure he gets a couple more Magi stacks as well, which who would turn that down?
Exactly. Good work from that point. Oh, FPX, you're in a great spot now. Only one stack off the full book again is Care. Rewritten it, done some editing, and come back with more pages.
And there is a chance that Care, well, no, I was wondering whether he would go towards a death cap actually, but I think after the first death he realized, okay, now I'm going to get that stasis in. But, you know, as a single item at full stacks, death cap, the Magi's gives you about, what is it, 150 AP, something like that. If you end up getting the death cap on top of it,
it's a lot.
You get 25 stacks with the death cap. Oh, just a little over 200 AP is one item, which is absurd in Summoner's Rift.
Hear ye, all Evelyn players consider Magi's into death cap angles for similar reasons.
Oh, yeah. If you are a good Magi's building champion, Magi's death cap, it's a hell of a drug. And Care, he doesn't have a Void Staff or something, but the Spellslinger Shoes and the Bloodletters on the Rumble do give them good tank damage as well alongside that Leandri's Burn. Care will be able to find out Monkey. He's level 16. He's actually in a really good spot. Shyamalan's.
Oh, that's unfortunate. He's going to speed himself away. How much more damage can they get? Milky Way does actually get the shield. Decent work. They got a shield coming on over. Monkey with the healing. But the cease and desist on top of the equalizer. Monkey is gone.
Monkey greeds for a grump, and he'll ribbit his last. Level 16 hit by Milky Way just there, and that's going to be the Trundle down. It is going to be, again, the Equalizer and the Ariel and the Vial both. All of them used. However, it's level 16 characters now. Care ticks over to that he didn't have it at the time. Sheer as well, I suppose. But they're lower cooldowns than they should be. By the time Monkey's back up and available, there's also pretty much going to be back as well. Milky Way, he has been very good at timing his engage with the rest of the team, and that's something which I wasn't really bringing in the same way. It was a little disconnected. And FPX, while their first series with him back looked a little bit suspect, this one is much better. WE, I thought this would be their chance to get a series win. In this first game, that is being given a bit of a reality check. FPX could be back.
Maybe. Taeyun, 4 items on this Kai'Sa. 8, 4, and 2 has actually had some very good later game team fights. Despite suffering early on in lane, it's still actually down 60-odd CS here. The thing is that this Kai'Sa's still online, still threatening. If you can find a good angle with that stasis, with that backline access, with the buffed Kraken Slayer as well, you can do pretty unspeakable things on Kai'Sa right now. There's something, I was chatting with Aragon the other week, and he was saying, you know, Kai'Sa in Tier 1 right now, something like a 90% win rate.
Jesus, really?
Of course, she's not being picked every game, but when she is picked, it was pretty wild. I don't know if that's changed since LEC started and stuff, but Kai'Sa was in a wild win rate over the last few weeks.
That is insane. I mean, like, when I see it, I mean, I'm not going to switch that, you know, I think that's pretty decent. 72% win rate. So it's not that high, but 72% win rate across this split so far.
Might have dipped over the last week, to be fair.
Yeah, it has done some insane work. Cat going to get fought back by that pillar.
But yeah, either way, the point being that Kai'Sa in the right draft right now is doing very, very well. LPL in particular, the numbers there have been eyebrow-raising to say the least. See whether Taeyun will be able to pull it back from this point.
We are in the late game now. We are a very strong composition to engage into. Baron's going down. I don't think FPX can really contest this. I don't really think they want this kind of fight either.
Oh my days, there goes the Baron. Again, another one towards WE. Managed to pick those up quite well. Maybe that's the angle back. The fights have been good from FPX. We have still got to criticize perhaps some of the objective lackadaisicalness. Gave a little bit too much license to WE, and they get the Baron for free.
Yeah, FPX don't... No. Honestly, I think FPX make the right choice here. This is the wrong one, though.
Oh, Jachi in danger. Still got a barrier. Gets the Valkyrie away. Turn around from Tway! Milky Way on the side. Gets exhausted, but you're exhausting a buy. Care. Goes golden. Buys time. Looks to turn around. Sees a desist on Taeyun who needs to run away. He's not doing any damn damage. The killer instinct for the shield gets himself some value. Trying to get his passive cycled. Will bring down Milky Way, but he has to go so far to do it. Where do you go? The supercharger Trent. He's just going to go down to the Order's Deception, and FPX have done it.
FPX take flight, and with Milky Way back in the helm at the jungle, perhaps this team can have the turnaround it has dreamed of. These are our 2 worst performing teams within a Group Ascend so far, desperately looking to make up ground on the rest of the pack, and FPX, with Milky Way back, may just have found the extra engine they need.
Towards the turrets we go. Vampire goes in, but it is a last gasp, a Hail Mary. Somewhere out there, the charge of the Light Brigade finds themselves in the face of all of FPX's cannons, and they will unleash the artillery on the Nexus. Snowball successful, Magi stacking successful, Fun plus Phoenix with a Game 1 win.
That was a very, very good mid-jungle performance and topside performance out of FPX. I really think that Shear's ultimates were game-changing and that Care, one of the best, are lost by the drafts themselves. Gyro's come through. Now, I'm not sure how Nymaera will deal with this kind of comp, because Nymaera is a strange champion, where you really are about, if your ultimate is up and you get to keep people in the pocket, keep yourself in the pocket to do damage. You are very, very good at extended fight DPS. Think of it like, kind of like a Twitch, kind of, you know, where you get to pop your ult and just do absurd damage. Of course, doesn't have the invisibility, but has a bit more mobility. If you don't have ult, Nymaera feels kind of crap. I think the problem that FPX could have is when they're into a fight, they don't really get out of it without winning or dying. K'Sante, Set, Shinzao, they don't get out of fights, really. Now, I think that the Aurora can dunk down on the Zeta carry fairly easily. Okay, we need to go restart the stream again just real quickly, folks. It looks like the audio's gone and delayed itself again because, you know, it does that. Nymaera, first time on the Rift here for the LPL. Yep, first bot lane, Nymaera. First Nymaera in general here in the LPL. That Q is where you get a lot of your auto attack damage from. It's kind of not dissimilar to Ash's Q, where you stack up some auto attacks and then you activate it, and it gives you kind of the AoE kind of bounce of these beads off of people. Your W is like an expanding bead, which ends up slowing people and damaging them. When you press your ult, it goes... Yep. And when you press your ult, it becomes a laser instead. More like a Zeri W. Your E is movement speed, and when you press your ult, it goes into a short-range tumble instead. What you can do, one of the bigger Yunari mechanics, is to E, ult, then your ult comes off, your E comes off a cooldown again, so you get the move speed, and then that's a flash forward onto them. The Boomerang Blade getting good deep damage around. Vampire does the classic of hooking a wall instead of a champion. That's a great trade. Using that flash and the ignite, Set often running the Hex Flash as support, winning that bot lane 2v2 heavily here. So here's Sam come back. Hey, Sam. I think he's got his headphones on. He can't hear me right now. That's very convenient. Milky Way rushing his way towards the bot side of the map. Actually, no, might go for a reverse clear, actually. Went full top side. Into, skipping his wolves, interestingly. Taking that blue buff. Go up to that grump now. At least Vampire's hook hit something and stuck true. Went on half cooldown for hitting the wall. Yeah. Yeah. Nice, that one. Hex Flash. Don't want to Hex Flash there and get hooked under turret. Yes, set W is powerful, but don't want to test its limits too much, do you? Mid lane, Kez doing well in terms of the CS. One of the problems with Tillia is that often you do drop CS to get push early, because it's quite hard to last hit while you're all shoving in with the Q's irregular hit timing. Sam, we have our first Nymaera of the LPL locked in. Yeah, so, you know, lots of comparisons to other AD carries, but basically if you don't have your ult, you feel like less of a champion. Not dissimilar to something like a Zeri that way, but unlike something like a Zeri or a couple of things, you don't have to burst necessarily, but your DPS is very, very good if you keep it going. Now, Tane's been forced to back early. It was a very good... There's a set support for Dre as well, by the way.
Oh, yeah, it's a specialty name.
Yeah, they hooked the set under turret. He does... Hang on a second. Dre doesn't use the W. That one is... Okay, Vampire solo kills Dre. My dude, what are you doing there?
Shouldn't you just give that one to Tane?
Well, he couldn't flash in range, so
true.
You can't really. Okay, Dway, my dude, that's just not it. Vampire,
that was funny though.
The greatest of solo kills, known to solo killing in supports. Jadshi, does he have spell shield? Getting slowed now. We'll need to spell shield the hook if it comes through. Not going to happen. Jadshi not going to get a good recall off here though, which is the most important thing.
Okay. Eyes on it. I think my understanding of Nymaera as well, she does tend to need a couple items to really come online. It's a bit of a hyperscaler, I know the idea. Nice buffer there by Care through the seismic shove, by the way. Obviously she's supposed to be an AD carry, right? Yes, she's got some mixed scaling. Yes, there's some weird potentials with the item build. But as it stands, we're seeing like double Zeal items. Lots of people going for the Kraken Slayer into Hurricane build. I'm hearing a lot of, because you can sort of get huge value off getting the multiple Kraken Slayer procs off your Hurricane bolts and all that kind of thing. I'm kind of curious to see exactly what the decision is here, as she is beginning to hit the light of pro play.
I think Kraken Slayer has been the higher win rate build, and it's just very, very nice in terms of just being able to proc it so many times with your Q, because your Q kind of counts as loads of multi-attacks in the same way that Ash's Q at some points was, you know, at different points with that too, because it fired like 5 different instances of damage. Which is kind of radical. Skarner going towards that bot side of the map. W with the first blood going over towards Vampire, who, you know, initially, you know, missed the hook to lose them that 2v2 early on. Vampire does have flash rather, but FPX, not the start that they would have liked from Dre particularly. Jadshi is a longsword, is a pickaxe to longsword up in terms of laning phase. Does have the cull, same as Tame. I think that one of my issues with this Nymaera pick is that I'm not sure it's actually going to out DPS the Sivir later, because Sivir is just the queen of AoE random DPS, and she has a bit more self-peel for herself with that spell shield and her ultimate, it feels like, compared to many. Monkey in bot side has level 6. There's no flash for Dway. They could go for a free kill onto the set here. If set walks up, this is a free kill. Needs to be Dway, my dude. Let's get that Hex Flash back. Jackie gonna body block the hook potentially.
Look with me on 4. He's gonna get some value. Jackie been exhausted. There's some decent damage. The showstopper not available, of course, but the W was. Milky Way looking for an angle there with that Wind Becomes Lightning. He's gone a bit deep. Doesn't actually find as much to look for. Gets the 3 talent strike flash away, but I think he's still going to go down. They messed that up, one of FPX. And Tane on the Nymaera just gets to throw a few prayer beads at him.
I mean, the hero that plays Monkey, though. The triple impale ending up that fight there, too. It's really all on him as Milky Way gets his W the wrong way. Just presses it in the wrong direction. Didn't have ult as well. Was behind in farm compared to Monkey. I mean, Milky Way's lost a ton of farm somehow, some way. Monkey getting a huge lead over Milky Way Shinzo.
Quite sure that one's come on in. I'm assuming probably from some early shenanigans. Either way, very nice from Monkey. And again, Monkey Skarner is something of a specialty. When he's on that tank champion, he gets so much value. That's a really good start to WE. We'll have a look at this replay again. It starts off, Milky Way is coming on down, but Monkey there with the level 6. That 3-man impale, utterly disgusting. The exhaust on the Jachi buys a lot of time. Tries to throw out that haymaker. It just doesn't mean all that much in the end. The impale comes down, buys a lot of time. Milky Way goes on in. I think he ended up getting rooted by Vampire's staggering blows as well, so couldn't really get onto Taeyu for that 3 Talon Strike knockup, and just ends up being a bit too far. Too much more to be seen here. Jachi, get that cannon minion, just farming away. Cube on that Yorick, away from the tank options towards something of a carry. FPX down about 1,000 gold in this early game, largely to be found in support and jungle. God bless the hook under turret. Bit of an angle here onto Milky Way, gets the Crescent Guard. They're looking for more there. They get the shove back. Monkey gonna try and find the jump between worlds. They go. Nice angle onto that Talia. Just get turned around onto Milky Way, but now Monkey potentially in danger. Does have the impale. Misses it. Driven into the wall this way. But gets the face breaker to go forwards with the haymaker. Value now as the Skarner goes on down. But Bashir presses the W. Pathmaker buying some time. Showstopper into the backline. Dwayne trying to flash away. Taeyoon flashing on forwards. They got some prayer beads. Needs an extra auto. Has been slowed down quite a long way. When will he have the transcendent steps? There's the speed up. Last auto not enough. Taeyoon not there in the cooldowns, and FPX go 2 for 1 there. WE though do still get that mark towards feats of strength because they got the 3rd kill nonetheless. Look at this again because Milky Way steps on forwards, cross the ward there. And Monkey goes, I've got this guy, drives on through. They bring the Talia over. And Milky Way just actually really good timing there on the Crescent Guard. Buys a lot of time, gets the knock up on the Talia, and trades his life. Or gets the flash off of Karis as well. Oh boy. And the exhaust comes on down. Monkey gonna really struggle, misses the impale entirely. And then basically Dwayne gets the same value with the haymaker in a second as well. It's just like, yeah, okay, well, done what I need to. I'll showstopper to the other side of this. Taeyoon flashes, doesn't have enough damage because it's too early in the game. Throw as many prayer beads as you like, but unfortunately the cultivation of spirit, that's not quite enough. Needs to go up a few cultivation levels, gather a bit more key or something like that. Vampire potentially looking on forwards. There's the dragon. Dway, Hex Flash on out, face breaker. Taeyoon gonna Kanmei step away. Away to safety. The ult popped as well. I do apologize to transcending oneself to make that the unstoppable shadow. Knock up onto Monkey, drive through the wall. Untouchable shadow, that's the one. First time caster Nymaera, very excited, but there's a lot of abilities to get a hold of. And of course, depending on whether you are transcending oneself at the time, will determine whether you've got just a bit of a ghosted speed up on your E, or whether it is in fact the full dash. Kanmei step versus untouchable shadow. Cool name. The Arc of Ruin as well. Very fun from Taeyoon if you press the W. Not quite sure. What are we seeing as the max on Nymaera? I'm assuming it's Q. Would make the most sense. But I could see it being W for wave clear. We see the Nymaera Hobbit. I'll keep an eye on it. Lethal Tempo I think does make sense. Does want to get through as much of those, many of those Cultivation of Spirit passive autos off. Stacked well with the regular pass of the Vow of the First Lands. Get that critical strikes, dealing that extra magic damage. So just the more you hit people, the more cool things you get. Again, part of the reason we see things like the hurricanes on Nymaera, it basically just gives you more Q stacks, so you can unleash more regularly, and that's where a lot of your damage comes in. See that AoE as well, very significant. Well, still about 1,000 in WE's favor, but a couple kills going back for FPX is nice to stop things getting too wild. Just check in and see where things are at. Care here. A very good game 1 for sure. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal again. He's the one with the kills. Can it just be a good care day? We'll see. Cull for Cull in bot lane. Slightly ahead there for Taeyoon by about a wave, but not going to lead to all that much. Early Kraken Slayer on in. It is going to be that Kraken Slayer build as we were kind of expecting. Cube on this Yorick up against this Cassante as well. About 20 CS, so good value there. Look, he's managed to catch up at least a little bit here in terms of the farm, so I'm assuming That 49 CS came on down. It was more about jungle timers in terms of when the clear speeds had come on through. A little invade here. The teleport's coming on through. Spot out Milky Way on that Gromp, but I don't think it's going to lead to too much there. Does Milky Way feel like he needs to go defend this Cassante? Not the easiest to dive, it must be said. Do you want to see Monkey Arset into this team and get them all killed? Very possible. Or to be fair, because he's HP stacking, Dway just ults Monkey into the team and they all suffer as well. That is very possible. Wonder what happens if Monkey presses R and Dway buffers through it with the Showstopper. Do we end up with like an impaled Showstopper? I don't actually know. Does one cancel the other? Is it even possible? I know not this interaction. Dachi just trading out with Yunara in the mid lane. Taeyun looking to find a way to be that hyper carry here again. The Yunara really takes off from 2 items plus, really. He is going to struggle on that front. Again, you're into the Sivir, who's in a similar position. Does really need a couple items before she's actually doing damage, but to be a true threat, wants 3 plus. Karis got pulled all out. Got pulled back by that Nuntopo Strike Part 3. Flash over that threaded volley. The shattering, sorry, the seismic shove comes on through. Is sure going to have enough speed up here. Weaver's wall just wide. Karis gets out. Flash and ult for Flash and ult. Okay, now we going to engage topside. Milky Way finds the way in, cube low, flashed out to safety. Vampire with the flash away. The depth charge knocks up enough people, so they get out of life. But again, a couple flashes, a couple ultimates blown. Yeah, had to blow his own flash there, looking for the engage. Can't quite secure what they're looking for. Few attempts that have been survived by virtue of good summoner spell usage. Karis gets the wave crash here, but again, needs to be a little bit wary. Sheer last time. And Topho strikes part 3 and made that poor old Talia suffer, just about survive with a very clutch seismic shove into Weaver's wall away, but it was an auto off death.
I do think that this Aurora, yeah, I do think this Aurora is a bit of a game breaker because it's someone that can just kind of always reach the Yunara. Now, tank frontline from WE will need to make sure there's some value out of that. I don't like the Malignance build. I still think it should have been the Leandries into Riftmaker. I just think it's a much better build right now. Yes, this gives you better squishy burst to a certain extent, but it means that you are much less able to deal with someone like a Yorick or a Skana, or of course a Nautilus if they manage to get that lucky CC onto you. Good damage there from Taeyun actually, with that coming through. And yeah, you can see that it is that Qmax into Emax for the easier mobility.
Yep.
Gives you that move speed, and then if you press alt, it kind of goes wild and goes into a dash instead.
Transcend oneself. It's Canmay Step, an untouchable shadow.
Oh, very cool. Dragon started on the bot side. FPX looking for their second. Do the other side want to contest? Well, they have a Weaver's Wall. No, it's on cooldown actually. They don't have that. Ignore me. So that's going to be a Dragon going down. They position, push in some waves, take the Herald instead.
Of course, WE still have feature strengths because they got the first turret in topside, worth noting. And they're up a couple thousand gold at this point, which is good news when you are actually running with things like this. Yunara, you want to get to multiple items. You need to scale a bit on the other side. FPX, I feel like there's a certain much of a muchness in terms of the scaling this game. Sivir for Yunara, Aurora and Talia. Like, I'm not looking at anything super crazy. I suppose there's perhaps a difference in the fact that Skana theoretically scales a little bit better than the Xin Zhao, which does a bit better early on. On the other side, the Yorick and the Cassante, slightly different identities. Of course, the Yorick much more about that split push hook onto the Scuttle Crab. Smoked away. Now Karis is butt down the Unraveled Earth. And the Showstopper in the back, that double face breaker. Follow-up's just not really there because Monkey bought so much time by threatening the Impale. Between worlds they go, and FPX has gone too deep.
They've gone too deep. Dway really didn't have any follow-up, and Care wasn't on the right angle. It's a double kill to the Yunara as WE will start to really pull ahead in this game. 3k up, and that will start to go even further. The Herald push in mid lane as Sam punches his mic, as he does at least once a day.
It's the pop shield specifically. I can't stand it. Hate that thing. They're going to throw the Herald into the mid lane tier 2. Going to get a lot more value there. And WE now ahead very significantly in this game. Down about 4,000 odd gold are FPX. Been a tricky old state of affairs. 3 kills on Nymaera now as well. Yeah, that's scary. So look at this replay because it looked like Dway had found a really cool angle, but then Monkey just stopped anyone following up.
I mean, yes and no. I mean, the Talia wall, the Talia E is actually more important for me there because it means that the Aurora can't press any abilities. I actually think it's more about the Talia though, because it means that you can't ult forwards without stunning yourself. Can't do the same with your E as well, or W. So I think actually that Talia and Minefield end up being a real pain in the arse there for Care midway through the fight.
Hurricane now done for Taeyun. That's the break point because basically it allows you to stack up your Q so much more fast because all of those autos give you your unleashed stacks, which allows you to actually activate your Q. It's a little bit like Ranger's Focus on Ashe to those who've not experienced the ability yet.
In fact, I referred to that.
Ah, there you go. Glad to see we're on the same page.
Yeah. So you know, it's a bit of a strange champion to kind of nail down in terms of comparisons to other champions, which I suppose is good because it means they have a unique niche. But yeah, somewhat like a Twitch in the sense that you really need your ultimate to do a lot of damage. Somewhat like an Ashe in terms of that stacking mechanic. Somewhat like both because you don't have nearly as much mobility. So somewhere between those two. I think Jack said it's a bit similar to Kai'Sa. I don't know whether I agree with that because Kai'Sa is a lot about burst and that instant reposition, which I don't know if I really agree with that, but then again, he's the person who's put more time into it, so perhaps there is something there which I'm not seeing myself.
She's anti-death ball. I can see it because just her AoEs on empowered Qs could be very, very strong. I can see that, Mr. Pillow. Yeah.
Of course, Pillars are kind of a resident AD carry main. If I have any questions about Zeri or any other kind of AD carry, go to Pillow. So FPX, they're very far behind in gold. I'm not seeing the value of the set support. Not gonna lie, it did one good play at the level 2 mark. After that,
I mean, I thought that play looked cool for they got the phase breaker across the wall.
It is all flash, no substance, and it's like, okay, wow,
but
I got
it's
this play.
good flash, Al. It's like, oh.
Well, but no, it wasn't because it got him killed, had 0 follow-up, and lost in the team fight. So
just flash, Care. That's the play, right? Right?
No, you can't do that. Like, yeah, this is a problem.
No, I'm aware of it very clearly. It was a bit too far and got them in trouble there. Of course, it's led to a 5,000-ish gold lead as well, which is pretty significant to say the least. And you can see exactly where it is. It's in top lane because there's Yorick is just continuing to get insane value out of side lanes. And it's in the Nymaera, who is also very, very ahead right now. And that should be a little alarming. Monkey as well, no slouch right now on this Skarner as ever.
Yeah, WE, I don't see... This is a pretty easy position to win from now. You're pushing up in every lane, you have a split push advantage, you have a 5v5 advantage. The only way this game goes to pot is if Care... I was going to say Care on the flank, if he can manage to kill the AD carry.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. And again, he is the one person who's picked up some kills, still got those 4 stacks on the Dark Seal. If he can find a kill onto Taeyun, yeah, that would do it, potentially.
Atakan spawning in 10 seconds. Paddle advantage already to WE. FPX... I don't know. It's just really hard for them.
You're so right about that petal advantage as well. He's nearly up 20 petals. That's a lot. That's like 2,000 gold worth of stats, just not in the scoreboard as well. That's really significant.
It's like a whole flower. Dragon spawning in 15 seconds. FPX could potentially get themselves to soul point. I suppose that's another thing which FPX could do, just trying to scale. Milkway squad out though, and he's going to die for free.
Yeah, he is. I think he was trying to look to set up for a shove onto this tier 1 and just gets no value. Vampire gets some silliness occurring. Milky Way goes down to the threaded volley.
Vampire misses the hook because, of course, he does. Whatever. All it ends up doing is big. The difference between a 5-second death and a 10-second death doesn't really change that much. But Milky Way, bad game here on the Shinzao, 0-4. Great game on the Vi last time. Sheer trying to go into Q, forces the flash rather.
TPs from multiple locations. Atakan is still, I think, being done by the side of Monkey. FPX are going to try to get to Soul right at this point. So, on towards the dragon we go. Vampire looking to potentially come down. Doesn't have the spellbook smite. Always worth double checking. Taeyun and Karis now here in FPX without their jungler around. Just have to give it up. Can't get the Atakan. Can't get the dragon. They lose both.
Oh, they will. So Dragon will go down. FPX, yeah, FPX lose both objectives. Monkey can solo it on the top side, and FPX probably should have been aiming to give up objectives to scale later into the game. They are down so much gold that realistically they should be looking at stuff like objective bounties, because I reckon they'll be coming up after Atakan potentially. Maybe their dragons make it a little harder to do so, but FPX need to get more items. That's a problem. I don't think they outscale in this game particularly. It's going to be hard for them to get much value out of that.
They're going to try and get onto Cube. Going to try and get the flash over the wall to Sheer. 3 talent strike knockup. Cube already burned that flash. Goes all out. I think he's likely just dead. Gets some value. But a nice kill there onto the Yorick to get something back.
Nice, gives the gold over to Sensei. Jue's dead because, again, Set... the problem with FPX's team is that when you're into a fight, you don't get out of it. Set is one of the worst criminal champions of that before. And Jue, after having a wonderful game last time, having a straight-on run-it-down experience on the Set. It's just not a good pick in this game.
It really hasn't worked. I know there's some HP stackers. I appreciate it's a Jue special, but this is just not been... particularly great, it has to be said.
If he played like this on almost any champion, it would have had similar results, sadly. He's just gone way too deep and not comboed up very well with his team. And FPX, sadly for them, you know, after such a good game one where they were outplaying WE, and now just kind of outplaying themselves.
Goes on a bit of a warding mission and goes a bit too far. Monkey drives through a wall, and at that point, what on earth do you do to the Skarner? Die, mostly.
You hope that Jackie gets towards the third item, Lord Dominance regards. It's all on the Sivir.
Yeah.
Like, it's going through the front line. Care is not going for a front line damaging build necessarily. Yes, you are going for that Leandry's. Yeah, and I wonder whether it should have been Leandry's Riftmaker.
We'll keep our eyes on it. So, eyes on Nymaera as well. Going towards, looks to be that last Whisper item third. I can see that you're into Cassante. Theoretically into things like the Set and the Shinzo can end up building a bit of armor too. And if you're looking to melt through front lines, you can certainly do that with this build. Get the Spirit of Cultivation of Spirit, that's the way around it is. Get more of those unleashed stacks out and AoE your way through to a victory. Second item just done for Cube as well. Got himself a Shojin, Unending Despair now for Monkey as well, and that makes things pretty scary. At the very least, Sivir here. Also, got myself the last Whisper. No Lord Doms as yet, of course, but do what you can. Nice little burn there onto Karis. Care, though, needs to be very aware as Vampire and Monkey looking to drive through a wall. Flash for the hook, flash from Care.
He was on target. Hitbox does go kind of wild at some points. And again, just no damage from Care onto the front line here. That's through a locket. Does basically nothing. Care, he needs to find a way onto the backline somehow, and they don't have the items really on the Sivir to go completely wild yet. Yes, the last Wisp is in inventory, but FPX, they've fallen too far behind the game now to realistically contest.
Okay, out comes the ricochets. They do have a fair amount of wave clear at the very least. The problem is, we saw on that tier 2, WE just walked at it and didn't care about the lack of that little bit of a flash blown there. Bit of an engage from Milky Way looking for something. Can't quite find too much. Ends up being burned down to about half here. Fighting for vision control. Will likely need to reset. Baron spawns in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, and FPX are now going to start losing all of their jungle camps. There's wards across both sides of their jungle. Yeah, still waiting, again, just somehow waiting for that third item. Not even sure what Care's going to go with third item. Suppose he has to go towards a pen item to try and get some kind of damage towards front line. He has that Leandry's. At this point, I think he would have just been better off going towards Leandry's Riftmaker, which technically I think does more damage because Aurora has so many base damages, which the percent damage increase affects, whereas, you know, AP ratios affect AP ratios. If you have something like Leandry's and Riftmaker, it will affect all of the base damage, including your passive. So when you get that pop, if you QE and then you wait a little while for the Q2 prop, kind of goes wild. Which is why you often go for that Riftmaker alongside the Leandry's, besides just the HP stacking, the ability to kind of do things your own way. Cat's going to back now, see what he'll get on this next component shot. FPX very far behind though, make no mistake.
Arm guard and inventory for Karis makes him a lot harder to pick off, particularly in the side lanes. Dragon would be in 45, Baron is up, and I think with this build, especially from WE, they can just tank it and shred through it real fast.
Yeah, and the is pretty good at killing Baron as well, with the amount of attack speed, Kraken Slayer, and blah blah, and what have you. Full control over the vision control here. FPX, they don't want to give this up, but I don't think they'll have much of a choice. They'll blue trinket it. They see it's on half HP. I don't think they can get there. They're probably going to get some CC onto Milky Way before he gets back in.
Oh, seismic shove lands onto him. Just going down to about 2/3. They're going to try and keep him trapped inside the baby cage. The Dark Perception comes on down. 3,000 HP. Gets shoved back again. Good work from Karis. Crescent Guard comes on down, but the Baron is now gone. Milky Way maybe forced to flash away and does so with the red buff here, but look who's following. It's Cube, who lands the Morning Mist. Won't find too much more as Care running away from Monkey, but again, doesn't do all that much damage. Seismic shove tried to teleport out. It was just too far.
WE claimed the Baron as FPX lose 3, and FPX have not been able to gain the gold they needed to. WE a clean chokeout victory, looking like it's on the cards.
Taeyun going to shove up this wave topside and get some value, specifically in the form of inhibitor turrets. The inhibitor's going to fall afterwards. Can Jachi find anything resembling wave clearing to the full force of WE and Baron minions? Inhibitor number 1 falling. 15 seconds on Care, on Sheer. Milky Way up just before that. At the very least, WE playing it by the numbers, getting 2 inhibitors, reset and look to solidify the game from there.
FPX may just be handed a defeat at the hands of Nymaera, who would have their first international victory. Nymaera has lost in both LEC and the LCP so far, has not picked up a win. This one, I'm not going to lie, I don't think it's because of the Nymaera, but the Nymaera is, you know, kind of like,
her job,
it's kind of like a boilerplate AD carry in this one. I think just any kind of regular scaling AD carry would have been fine at this point. I mean, the laning phase was left a little bit to be desired. I think Jachi and Jway won the first little bit of it, and then Tane just scaled up as many AD carries will do. I think it's really more about how the front line of Team W just got so far ahead, and W, when they are ahead in front line, are very, very good at playing through it. FPX, I think particularly Milky Way, after a good game last game, has shown the downsides of the flipping engage style.
That's it. Did see a win from Nymaera in LTA. I think Yon managed to get one out there, but it's as you've kind of noted, it's not been super successful as yet. But Taeyun doing good work here.
Oh yeah, there's been one. Let me see if it's.
You're going to get the shove back onto Sheer there. It does end up being taken a little low. And our Milky Way goes down. Looking for wings, becomes lightning onto the angry panda cat thing. Doesn't really lead to all that much.
Currently Nymaera 1-5, and Sam is correct. Yon did end up getting a single victory on that over in the LTA. I think there's 2 or 3 games of it over in the LTA. But yeah, this would be only its second win. First one in the LPL. It's his first game in the LPL, crushing in towards that inhibitor.
Final inhibitor down. It's by the numbers. It's tutorial style. Everything down in the right order. Milky Way trying desperately to clear away the waves on the other side, but they're still got a bit of Baron to work with for 20 seconds. WE on towards the Nexus turrets.
And FPX really just don't have the fighting potential. The set support didn't work. The Shinzao definitely didn't work. The flick back did, though, and the Impel will make it worse.
It does. Tries to get a bit of damage back. The Power Faker into the all-out. It's decent angle briefly. They kill off the Nautilus. Do they have enough in the tank? They just don't. It's a triple kill to Cube, who keeps delivering those last rites. Taeyun hops on forward. Untouchable Shadow. And unleashes a little bit more power. The spirit is fully cultivated. WE even up the series.
1-1 as WE look for their first series win in the split. It has been a hard start to split 3. The team WE, who did finish top 4 for the first.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Onto the riff we go. For game number 3, decider here between WE and FPX. So, there is that statistical overview. I think that makes some sense. FPX in the early and mid stages with their pick and blow someone up comp. WE with the you don't get into any objective pit ever comp. Post about 20 minutes gets real obnoxious here.
However, this kind of comp from WE gets very, very hard to play if you make singular mistakes. Stuff like the Caitlyn, that can happen all the way from laning phase. It's not like the Hui's got his greatest tools to protect himself. You are really relying on vision control, and then of course the Braum or the Maokai being there later. One of the other things is, I look at stuff like Maokai and Braum. They don't stop a lot of the engage which FPX has with their bodies. You know,
yeah.
You can't actually stop that with the shield. You know, the Bard ult can't stop that. The Tibbers or the Fire Cone with the Mana, you can't stop that either. That's a great level 1 from FPX. And this is the kind of thing we're saying about mistakes from WE can really weigh hard. Losing that much HP on a Caitlyn at level 1 is really not good.
And again, you are strictly double ranged into melee as well here, which means that for all you're running a Caitlyn, the heals are going to be popped. They're going to run at you now. Level 2 being thought of a Vampire is low. Maybe forced to flash here. More autos going down onto Taeyun and Vampire, forced off the wave at the very least. Another stun, forces the cleanse. Looking for some more follow-up.
Bit of a mistake there from Jachi. He was trying to trade 4th shot for Braum passive. And you can see, actually, that Jachi's gone for the Doran's Blade start. This is the problem, though. Monkey has been clearing bot side. Milky Way will spot this being down now. They'll know their bot side. They need to run.
Yeah, that Maokai could just get over the back end of this, get very, very scary. They don't know yet. They're about to spot them. Found now. Jachi low. Does not have the cleanse. Gets Bramble smashed back. Flashes away. Double stun. Oh, FWE. That's now a problem. Can Milky Way find an angle? Has got the Spectral Maw and a flash available. Doesn't want to pop it.
And Milky Way didn't have that E, obviously used that getting towards bot side, but still, Jway saves the day after Jachi, and Jway should have really died on that bot side play. Monkey and Vampire can't get it done. Vampire's flash Q missing, and now he's down the summoner.
We're looking for it. Monkey, of course, still holding on to his. Milky Way now on the blue buff, looking to nab this away, and with the pressure required, I think this is just going to be picked up by Milky Way.
Monkey has Smite, but he won't be able to get over there in time. So what it's going to be is 3 camps stolen by Monkey, 1 by Milky Way right now. Milky Way needs to get towards the top side of the map to see if he can do something up there. I suppose with Care having the wave in this position, it's not the worst thing ever. Milky Way using his E to walk over towards the Raptors more quickly. I guess he's going to go topside Scuttle instead. If he gets double Scuttle, that means he's up, again, technically up a camp steal. So he'd still be down a camp compared to what Monkey had taken before. And yeah, with Jachi and Jway on top side, be able to get that one, but he's still going to be behind in resources.
Are they looking for the gank? I was wondering whether they might try and like really aggressively play for the red buff contest, but...
Oh, that's really nasty by Sheer. I mean, he's actually even in farm, and he's frozen the wave, which means that Jachi and Jway get the frozen wave, which Sheer had set up for them. That's
really nice.
Like, get yourself a top laner like Sheer.
And now Sheer gets to walk bot side because Caitlyn's only shoving the wave now. I mean, theoretically can TP, right? But we'll see exactly what the decision making is here. But that's really nice value. There's a cull picked up by Teo, but he had to back slightly ugly timings.
Monkey chose not to do his topside camps because he wants to fight for. Thank you for the thing there, as we didn't change scenes over towards the no cam, as we oopsies, yeah, thank you for following. Anyway, Monkey chose to go for the camp respawn steal instead, so he can make sure that Milky Way is not taking these camps. He wants to stay ahead. He's left his own topside camps to get this.
Let's try and get this attempt here on the Bramble Smash available, means that Monkey just wins that with the Q Smite.
Yeah, Milky Way didn't manage to get in range to get like auto attacks on the mini ones or anything like that. Use that Q a little bit early. Pulling out Cupid.
Doesn't get the Infernal Chains pullback. Slowed down by that captive audience. Damage comes on forwards into the 4-shot cube. Again, just zoned off this wave.
Yeah, Cube's having a horrible time of it. And the Aatrox, if he's behind, really doesn't add that much to a team comp. He doesn't anyway in most situations like that. Sheer just misses both those CS, by the way.
Oops.
Good job there, Sheer. That's definitely not what you want out of that Scion. Caitlyn continues to push. You already mentioned that cull before, so trying to get some value out of that. Taeyan's been going more towards that Caitlyn recently than many others.
He has. It's been interesting. They've often gone for these Braum lanes with it. And it does feel like actually either the ability to hit turret's been a little bit mitigated, but that ability to just throw down so much CC in the mid-game being quite tricky. Nice, Deadly Flourish into the magical journey out. Monkey's around, but Q being threatened under this turret at the very least.
The biggest story of this early game, though, is still Monkey out jungling Milky Way. He's been getting so much farm up ahead of him. He's been doing really well. That first invade, which FPX didn't spot out, has just led into this flowchart of Monkey saying, okay, I'm going to keep up the tempo. I'm not going to take my own camps. I'm going to go for the Raptor respawn instead and make sure that Milky Way can't get a camp back onto what I've taken away from him. Milky Way getting the 1 camp back has kept him, I suppose, within some form of relevance, but this Viego, who's typically very good at clearing through the first stages of the game, has been put behind, and FPX have not been able to bail him out.
Yeah, again, I don't necessarily think it's like, it's not on Milky Way per se, as much as on FWE's really good level 1 prep, and FPX being caught flat-footed by. That's not an individual mistake per se. And very good from Monkey to take that lead and run with it. And we'll see what it leads to at the minute. It means that Milky Way, as it stands, down about 2 camps worth of CS, maybe 3 as best as that one comes on through, and there will be a couple camps to pick up for on the other side. I'm going to start up this dragon as a result and see whether Milky Way can get a hold of that.
I don't think that's a good idea. It takes a long time to take. WWE can contest. Milky Way is not exactly far ahead. And by the way, while all this is happening, Najachi's got a bit of a CS lead down, but it has been at the cost a little bit of Sheer. And right here, Milky Way, if he's forced to pull off this dragon, he's falling even far behind. The amount of time invested to do this is really high. I don't think they can do this in Milky Way. Sadly for him, is not really getting anything out of this early game.
He doesn't have any camps to take, so it's this or nothing.
Well, he does. He's got Raptors, he's got Blue Buff. He has them up now. If W actually contests this is a big loss for Milky Way if nothing comes of it. Sion can walk down river with that ultimate. They're starting it up again.
Gonna try and start this one up again. There they go.
Level 6 from Maokai.
The Vampire doesn't have the smite on it. Should just be secured and done. Going to go into the jungle now. Maokai looking to potentially invade onto Krugs.
Jachi flashing up the top esports logo, by the way, because he used to play on top esports challenges. Well, all this is happening, WE get to hit top turret and bot turret. Care is chunked out on his way back towards mid lane. WE are getting small advantages. The Krugs takeaway is good. The plate takeaway is good. FPX have misread the early game. WE, credit to them, have really given a hard decision-making process over towards Milky Way and the lane-swapping members. FPX are coming out worse for wear from the early game.
They very much are. Look at that gold lead right now, down about 1,500 gold. Some of that's from pure laning. Karis, actually, despite being shoved in early, is up a significant amount right now. Care not having the best time on this Annie. The Care Bear memes live on right now.
Yeah, he's never really been the best Annie for him. Shear's not been farming well under turret at all, by the way. I think he even missed another cannon there. He's missed now 2 cannons on camera from us. Milky Way can't walk in towards his top side very well. His blue buff, I think, has already been stolen away. I think, anyway. No, it's still up there. Okay, luckily for him. Teleporting from Dway. But FPX, given how well they started this series, seeing how poorly this early game has gone is quite dismaying, actually, for FPX fans. WE, they'll love that. They've really outplayed in the early game. Scuttle taken by FPX, actually.
Nature's Grasp comes on down, now looking potentially to come and fight this. Down some big ultimates. They've taken one of those grubs. Milk Magical Journey available. The Grim Visage or Gaze of the Abyss comes on down. I think that means FPX will get actually the marker towards the feats of strength here. Another objective
That's
for
important.
them.
Milky Way gets the XP off of the grubs as well. He gets the Scuttle Crab. Not actually sure if he got that one or whether that was Bard that ended up randomly taking or something like that. Something like that. Yeah. But anyway, at least it's not WE getting it and Cube getting it. But it does mean that Diego doesn't get it himself. So what happened down here? Was there a flash forced? Yeah, there was. Okay, that's nice from Sheer, because a flashless Caitlyn is very, very easily punishable by a Bard ultimate when it gets unlocked in the next minute or two. Maybe there in probably about an extra 2 waves.
See how that
Oh no, on this one even.
Yeah, good work on that. Should be able to secure most of this wave. Has to be a little bit worried about where you stand in queue as a Scion into Caitlyn, because you can just put a trap under you, and that can be a bit miserable. You get all those empowered autos. You need to make sure your Soul Furnace is up and running.
Given solo XP and a lot of time on this tower is still pretty good for him. And the reason I think this is working out is because Sheer has not been farming very well. It means that his Soul Furnace is less than it should be. He's got a little less gold than he wanted as well. If you're at the back, getting himself a good teleport back into lane, he'll be safe after this point, probably going towards something like a Barmies or the like for the wave clear components. Going out, what does he get? Yeah, just get that Barmies and he'll be happy now, wave clearing through more than he was before. But Sheer, yeah, do expect more in the farming department from him. We've seen the CS leads ping back and forth a little bit. Jachi did have a 10 CS lead. That's fallen down a little bit now. Sheer did have a bit of a CS lead. That's, again, a little bit behind now. Good stun there from Care.
Can't quite land the disintegrating. Karis will make sure he's got a tranquil pool to calm himself after the trauma of being burned.
Yeah, there is an aloe pool or something. Maybe. There are places where you can actually like go take a bath in like your favorite drink, by the way, like green tea or wine. You know, there are places that do that.
That feels very decadent. And I don't know whether I want to smell like
Ult's
wine.
Going on towards Monkey, who flashes and doesn't get away from it. The Q will land.
Oh boy, into that cosmic binding. Gonna find the damage. He is a dead tree.
Bad recall from Monkey, who thinks he's safe. Flashes, gets caught anyway, and now the game becomes a lot more interesting from FPX. Milky Way able to get that kill, which gets him some XP, some gold, and potentially fuels him towards a Triforce. And it also means that Monkey is not on the board farming. It means that Milky Way gets a little bit more time to stick around for this bot side. Scuttle stopped Monkey from getting ahead more than he was. The early game was really a tale about WE getting a little bit more out of the jungle matchup, a little bit more out of the lane swaps, even though FPX were the ones initiating them. This is a good sigh of relief for FPX.
Milky Way secures that Scuttle Crab. We've got about a minute or so until Dragon. Milky Way sticking around. Of course, still got the ult to work with. Didn't have to burn it in that last one. So can theoretically play quite aggressively here.
I really don't like Milky Way sticking around at that point. I know he has less camps up and available, but I think he needs to use every second counts for this Viego at this point, and it's not Echo. But if you get this, I think if he gets these Krugs, he's pretty close to getting Triforce on the next back, and then I think game on towards that Viego, who was struggling a little bit before that.
Again, waiting for those Krugs respawns. Gets to do this now. Should be able to reset. He's hanging around here to prevent them shoving out the wave too much. In fact, Milky Way's being donated the farm here. I wonder whether they're trying to get him towards Triforce off this wave.
Yeah, I think they are. That's got to be the plan, right? He's closer in XP than he was before. But again, this early game is one that you want to go back, slow it down, and watch what happens with the second-to-second decision-making, because W got that great early invade off of off of Monkey into the bot side jungle, which really got him into a good spot. And as we were saying, Milky Way did manage to go back on that base, get Triforce, power point now, ready potentially for a dragon fight as well. Remember, Monkey ended up using that flash, does have Spellbook, has a cleanse actually with that in mind. Will not save him from a well-timed Bard ultimate, so keep your eyes out for that. Stray takes a bit of Hwei poke.
Does have a nice hot chocolate to keep himself nice and topped up. Milky Way with the blast cone. Do they want to come and play? I think they possibly do. TP behind.
That's a teleport. Taeyun has no flash as well.
Oh no, that's unfortunate. Taeyun in danger. Glacial Fissure, Nature's Grasp. But Care's coming! Eat the Care Bear, Taeyun! Incinerated and disintegrated. Monkey with the twisted advance. Severing Bolt coming on through. The curves are called. Not the best ult angle. Forces Vampire to leave from under the turret. Care hit by the spiraling dispel. Looking to turn this around. Cube looking for an angle on in. Where is the Scion? Not here quite yet. World Ender pops. Scion comes charging on forward as an unstoppable force. Not the best angle, but does get to join the play regardless. Jachi, slow down, Severing Bolt. It's going to be okay.
Honestly, if that Jhin ult was better, FPX would be walking away with 2, maybe 3 kills. Jachi, you cannot angle it like that, especially when people are so close to you. They can get out of that angle pretty easily. They're still going to buy FPX the Dragon, most likely, in a Magical Journey. Hang on a second, there could be a smite contest. No, not quite. Magical Journey sees the team out safely.
And it does, towards the red buff. He goes, Monkey gonna come and fight this with Cube?
I don't know. I mean,
Recall's coming on through. It's gonna get a bit spicy. Remember, Milky Way doesn't have the smite. Jwei's now spotted, potentially in danger. Should pick up the red buff at least. Does get so. Jwei flashes away.
Fail flash from Cube. If that Q hits, maybe it would have been that overall kill. They will get themselves the red buff steal. Yes, they will. That did come through. But they don't manage to get much else out of that. They will stick around the bot side of the map, and they will be able to take the first turret with the Caitlyn push.
Check. I thought Milky Way got it, but it went down to 14 HP.
Look, yes, it did go down. I just saw Monkey with the red buff, and I was like, okay, does he still have it? He did end up getting some apologies there. They did end up securing their own red buff, did FPX. They do lose the Dragon. They lose a couple of kills, which is, well, a kill, I suppose, onto Taeyun, which is worrying. FPX are playing well around these early skirmishes. Great ult from Jwei. His ults have been fantastic. Catching out Monkey a little earlier.
Good timing for Milky Way as well.
Vampire also not able to block the Spectral Maw, so not great disengage play from Vampire. It's hard to play that as Braum. This is one of the issues we highlighted. Look, I mean, you know, it's hard to crack your body on the line. Jachi with the poor ult means they can't catch out Vampire. A little bit trigger happy on pulling that, trying to get people around. Vampire not able to get the Q down because the what's it called? Are in the way. The Raptors.
And the smite secure the Raptors at the very least. Now Q potentially in danger. Beware, you've got a Sundered Sky and a World Ender to work with, so
yeah, it's not really
not as scary as perhaps I was initially anticipating with the shove coming on it.
I can tell when you're excited for a play because you're a ton of boys. Yeah, we've cast, believe it or not, we've cast enough together for
that's
this
true.
I'm sad, like, he's full HP, there's a Sundered Sky, 3 cookies and adult.
Like, my thought process was, wave clashing 3 members, cool. What does Cube have?
No. Yeah. They're playing around Fog of War here. Now, there could be a Magical Journey behind them. Now, he's still pretty safe, not gonna lie.
Oh, good start. The damage back up. Oh, no, he is that safe!
Oh, okay, Jesus Christ, no, he's not.
Jason burned.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, it's Jason Byrne. Jason Bourne. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne.
Oh no.
We now have to save that for a much better moment.
Oh yeah, we do.
Fight on the top side, Monkey pulling the ult. No cleanse available for either of these with spellbooks and what have you.
There's a few very long cats. Unstoppable force. Care's got himself a stun. Could look to make sure that people enjoy a really nice warm hug. Won't happen as Jachi will throw down a deadly flourish. Doesn't really lead to all that much. It's a big ult burn by WE there.
It is, but Jachi blows the flash on the way out, so WE feel comfortable with that, I think, all things said and done. WE, they don't have 3 grubs to push out. It's starting the Herald up again, I believe, actually, as we speak about it. Monkey doesn't have flash because he's got cleanse. He still has that in Spellbook. I really think he should have blown that at some point to get another more useful summoner, because he doesn't want to be stunned up. Traps being put in place. Shit, you have no support there, my friend. Do not walk up too far. It loses half his HP, and now the front line is a little bit rough.
Oh, hang on. The smash comes on through. That's onto Karis. Loses about half his own HP. Herald taken. Not quite in time off those resets where FPX to really fight. Couldn't get enough time. Care gets a decent stun, but he's in danger himself. Needs to be in danger. The Q3 down. Severing Bolt comes on through, courtesy of the Glacial Fissure, buying time, and Care just dies.
Care had no ult, no flash. You should not walk up for a cheap stun. That is just not the play. Care's Annie once again leaving us with a lot to be concerned about, sadly. WE will use the Herald and the kill onto the Care to make sure they can go in towards that mid lane without a contest, and they find an easy play there. They get themselves 1,500 gold ahead as FPX's mid laner really just throws himself into a free death.
does unfortunately, at the very least, FPX, because they got the kill top side, did get feats of strength. So there is that for them. You know, something mitigating some of the discrepancy there, but 2 turrets to none is a little rough, and that one was a bit of an overforce. I can see what they're thinking. If Sion can buy some time, you've got people coming back with some cool items. All of this stuff is fine 10 seconds before that. But the timings just weren't quite there. Karen's a bit of a bad spot and ends up dying.
Minute till Dragon. FPX will be looking to get their third, but I mean, WE, they do have themselves some good power points right now. If Taehyun gets himself towards an Infinity Edge soon, that is very, very big for WE. That's when your damage starts to go really, really high. And I think that Sheer, I'm a little bit worried about his front lining right there. Lost half his HP for nothing. Basically, he needs to do better than that. His farm's been okay. To say that. He's 130 in 17 minutes. Doesn't feel great. Both top laners dropping CS. Jhin, not in a bad spot. There's no one, like, really stacking armor crazy amounts right now. Lots of Merc Treads on the other side, and he's got a Ghost Blade first, so this is the kind of game where Jhin actually does do a ton of damage. Fight over the mid lane will come through.
The plan. Jachi going to try and clear out this wave best he can, and bit of lock on down, not too much. Hasten the hole, not body blocked. There's still a couple hot chocolates, though, so I don't think he's going to be too bothered about it. In fact, there he goes, picks him up. Gonna get some damage onto Vampire, actually. Gets him stunned up. Severing Bolt lands onto Jax. The Nature's Grasp comes on through with the Magical Journey by time. Sheer this time doesn't take all that much damage. Milky Way now onto Monkey. Gets exhausted.
When's the next W coming up from Monkey? He might go on to Sheer now. Uses the ult to go unstoppable.
Nice.
No, he doesn't have it available. Lost half his HP again. Sheer's frontlining duty not being the most effective, but he does get out alive this time. Care on the flank. Does have flash. Does have ult. Does have level 11.
Yeah, needs to get through those Caitlyn traps, though. Gets across, but is now a known quantity. Looking for that flank angle. Across they go with the Magical Journey. Sheer still got TP, so could theoretically back and rejoin.
Monkey could flash W. Why are you stood there?
Care gets the stun back. Remember, Monkey doesn't have his own summoners right now. Goes down. Body stolen. It's all too far. Karras has to flash away. Cube trying to find some value. Ult away from Milky Way. Is exhausted. Spiraling despair on top of him. Doesn't quite kill. Needs to escape. Does so. Sheer flashing on out. Magical Journey from Dway. Gets him. No! Finally across the wall. Cube continuing to look for more. Flash on out. And WE can't secure the kills.
Well, we found out why Care was stood there. He can actually just one-shot Monkey. Did not expect that at all. The Merc Treads really helping Care escape the CC and get away with it. Not going for the pen boots, and you can see the value there. However, WE do have the HP bar advantage now, and I think that should, I guess, net them the dragon. FPX are looking to reset. I guess with Taehyun recalling, well, he was channeling his recall.
Monkey was dead. So,
I know, but he would have recalled by the time they would have got through to it. I felt with the HP of our advantages, they could have gone towards it. WE going to go back towards the bot side of the map. We might have a Dragonfight 2 Electric Boogaloo, whose ultimates are more important right now. I think FPX, they need their ultimates a little bit more. Sheer getting his back up in 5 seconds. Bard ult back now too. That could be crucial with a couple of flashes down on mid-jungle for WE.
10 seconds on Cares. Milky Way probably more like 15 to 20. Keep your eyes on that one. Not sure where Jin's ult is. I think it's off cooldown, but it's always a little tricky to tell.
No, it's on cooldown right now. It's on cooldown. Dragon started up by WE. Trap line comes back in again. Jet's trying to wave clear through the wave, and he does, but FPX not in a great spot. They do have the flash. Care Bear up again, though.
Try and look for it. Saplings and traps make this tricky. Good Tempered Fate stops the dragon going on down. Nature's Grasp comes on through. Milky Way can't get it on in. I think this is just WE's for taking. Looking for the turnaround though. Care Bear on 2. Turnaround aside. Goes on in with the unstoppable force. Vampire just about alive for a second or two. Milky Way doesn't get the reset. Dies. Sheer now frontlining. Is about to die. They have to run away. They've run out of burst. And WE just stand and kill 2 and get the dragon. Cube on the flank angle. Still got a bit of World End to work with. The stun available for Care. I think Cube's just gone too deep here. Gets a tease of Deathbringer's dance passive. Misses his stuns though. Goes down all the while though. It's buying time for the rest of his team to pick up the bot lane. So trades his life for the 2 of Jachi and Dway.
Jachi didn't flash for the immediate kill on Cube. Allows him to get another Deathbringer stance auto through. And the Aatrox ends up leading to the death of all of them. FPX should have left that dragon alone. They did not have the damage to burst through the Braum at this point in the game. He has 3 points in that shield, and they just don't have the items. Atacam will go to WE. They'll get the dragon as well. They get a bunch of kills. That's the kind of fight which FPX couldn't afford to take. WE, they're playing much better around setting up the river around those Caitlyn traps. It forces FPX to funnel into them, which is exactly where the Hui and the Caitlyn start to get value.
And now WE find themselves 4,000 gold ahead. And look, FPX, sometimes the fights themselves, the hands are fine, but the decision-making for those fights not great.
This is the actual bit beforehand where they get the initial kill around the first fight, and this is fine, because Monkey goes way too far forward into a level 11 Annie, and I thought they'd have the follow-up damage. Just gets burst out. The reset comes through. Milky Way then tanks too much going forwards. That's a big mistake from him. I don't like the way Milky Way is playing the Viego right now. He's taking way too much damage. And again, that happens here where, you know, Milky Way gets caught by a Marco for reasons beyond me. That's not the biggest thing ever. But they jump on towards the Braum where Milky Way tries to go for the reset and doesn't get it. I mean, Milky Way in this probably loses them this way. If he holds on a little bit longer and waits for his ultimate onto a set, like if he could use it onto the Aatrox there, maybe that'll make a big difference. Milky Way, honestly, you cannot afford to die in situations like that. You are squishy at this point in the game. It's hard to play the Viego, but you are a win condition. And then right here, Jachi had to flash early. If he flash early and gets the Deathbringer stance auto onto Cube, he does kill him and he doesn't get that reset. It's a bad play by Jachi.
Unfortunate there. FPX now find themselves in a very challenging position. I think WE also got themselves the Atakan after that.
Yes, they did, yes.
They get the double duty on that one. Milky Way at least helps pick up that turret. Was looking okay for FPX for a bit, and now, unfortunately, for FPX, WE find themselves in a commanding position in this game.
Yeah, and FPX, they're still trying to integrate Milky Way into the roster. WE, they're waiting for their first series win. This would be it. These are our two teams which have struggled the most at the outset of the split. WE have had our worst start so far. Bad Dwayne for once, actually, he's been very accurate with them before.
Just the forward step. Can't quite punish Vampire for it, though, and he just gets to...
It's not like you have any follow-up angle. If Cat was on a flank, maybe. You can't really go towards that at that point. Dwayne's ultimates have been very, very good so far, but sadly that one, which could have been a big changer, again, doesn't get that much value. W, keep pushing in, keep trying to force FX down the front and straight of it. Marco comes out.
His grass comes on through, body block by Dwayne, will self-cleanse that
one.
one.
Second, ult over the wall. Cat.
Jump into the backline on 3! Forces the cleanse flash, turning around, big on to the backline from Milky Way, trying to get onto Karis, gets a body, but gets feared, so can't steal it. Great from Karis. Care now being run at as Cube has come on forwards. The World Ender running, the move speed, the flash twist in advance, and Care goes down as well.
Milky Way misses his W and his kill combo, which allows the enemy team to land the fear before that kill came through. Milky Way once again dying on the engage because he misses something crucial. It's not probably, it's one of a handful of mistakes which FPX make, but W, great disengage play to force the reset to not be the winning factor. We'll watch this again as Care is on a great angle, gets a good flash over the wall. He is getting a good angle here onto a bunch of squishy members, ends up getting, I think, both carries in one play. Yeah, it's a triple stun. It's really well played, but watch how Milky Way plays after this. Doesn't end up following that quick enough, and he doesn't get the W onto Karis. He could have maybe gotten it backwards to get out of range of the way, get the easy reset, ends up dying, doesn't get the reset, ends up going down without it being a winning play.
I mean, I get you don't really have time to charge W to make it longer range.
Which is why you have to go backwards.
Yeah, well, I guess, but I think at that point, do you actually get far enough backwards there with the tap W?
You kill Braum immediately, then you
Braum was already dead.
No, he wasn't.
He died to the R.
He didn't die to the R. He would have actually died to the auto afterwards. He wasn't quite dead there. So Milky Way, if you W backwards, I think he can at least reset around that Braum soul, Braum's body, then go forwards with that. Either way, the W forwards end up allowing the enemy team to focus him down as he couldn't quite get that second kill.
Couldn't get the body reset, couldn't get in. Good fear from Karis, I'll give him that one as well. Really clutch timing on it. Now, of course, we're going to look over to Baron being started by WE. Looking to get a Tempered Fate, though. Buy some time.
Ozzy will reset the Baron itself.
Gonna have a bit of a fight going on here as Sheer now potentially in danger. Deadly Flourish comes on down. Nature's Grasp comes on in. They will get out with the Magical Journey.
He'll get them towards the dragon as well. Now, this does mean that there are no traps around here. Ked doesn't he's off vision, importantly. Finds out Cube. That's a bit of a problem.
Oh, dear.
I think he's a bit dead now. Cube has flash. That is a very dead Annie by my eyes.
Stun away. Actually, just managed to get on out.
Phase rush. I'm really judging these plays quite poorly here. Does mean that the ultimate's not down. It's going to be a smite fight.
Glacier Fissure comes on down. Should be able to secure it. It's done. So Magical Journey trying to get out. Does get Milky Way to safety for now, but the Braum passive coming on through. How much more can they get done? Big knockup comes on through from San as he decimating smashes. Exhaust onto Cube, who doesn't have that wall. And it gets across the wall. Sheer trying to body block. Curtains being called. I think Sheer will die to that spiraling despair. That's the name of that ultimate. Taeyun rooted up. Sheer's gonna have his zombie going forward, but it's feared away.
WE managed to find a good aggressive fight there. I'm surprised that they were able to find that through the magical journey. Thought typically following people through that journey leads to your death. And WE, real credit to them. They got blasted in game 1. Game 2 and 3, they've been much more confident around playing around Cube. I think Cube's had actually a very good series here on the whole today. They'll teleport back out onto the map. Sheer, he's struggled to frontline. He's 2,000 gold down. He's not gotten enough CS, enough kill participation. Baron should go down. I don't think there's a good contest for FPX. They might try it anyway, but it might lead to their deaths.
try and play this one regardless. Soul point available. Jway, Milky Way around, down to 5,000. I don't think they're getting in here anytime soon. That Baron is going to be WE's.
Yeah, so W will claim that, and now you have a Caitlyn Baron push with the Maokai ultimate able to force people away from turret as well. FPX, they've sadly mis-executed around a lot of their team fights. It's very tight margins they're playing around with the compositions they're playing today. Even game 1, which they ended up winning, the tight margins were the ones that they were winning. Here, their tight margins, which they were losing. They do have 2 items onto Milky Way right now. I wonder, again, stuff like the Collector, a bit of a troubled history with that one, really. I really feel like sometimes Lord Dominic's Regard second is just the better item, despite losing a little bit of the AD. You do just get better stats onto someone like the Braum or the Maokai as your first target. And I wonder whether Milky Way, who's already struggled to get that first kill cleanly and survive through to the reset, will make his job a little bit harder now.
Whether we can get the executes off, because again, of course, suppose that extra 5% execute threshold, maybe that's just what you need.
Yeah, but I just don't think it's going to be the stats which you need. You need that. You need the DPS. You need the raw damage. Milky Way, that being said, though, I mean, I think realistically what he needs to do is judge his angles a little better. I mean, there have been 2 or 3 times in this game where he has been the one going too deep. You know, not quite judging where that Braum, when that Braum was going to die in that mid lane fight. Before that, when he jumped onto the Braum again in the river, Vampire has been very hard to kill. FPX have not been able to get the resets cleanly.
No, you get that past a certain point, the margins get narrower and narrower, and your window of success get narrower and narrower, but the end result is you're still not getting the bodies to hop, and that's what FPX comp needed to do. Didn't really snowball through the early game as well as they would have liked, ended up a bit even. That's just allowed WE to get to the point where they're in the river first a lot of the time, and we said in draft, you get to the river first with a comp like this, getting through the traps and the saplings and everything else is such a nightmare.
Tame just takes half of the HP from Jachi off there. I think on the whole, Jachi and Joy have had a good game. I think actually, I mean, yes, there's a 3.6k gold lead onto Taeyun, but I do think that Joy in particular has had a very good game on the Bard. It's just not been enough. WE have been playing much more confidently around these slower, heavier frontline comps. That has been their specialty.
Taeyun's just been able to hit turrets a lot this game, which didn't happen the last time we saw him with Caitlyn. This time around, he very much has. Hits very, very hard in this game.
WE crushing through a second inhibitor, so far up in gold, a 10,000 gold lead.
Monkey potentially in a spot of danger. They're going to get the temper plate onto Taeyun. That prevents all the DPS for a second, but they just don't have the follow-up.
No, they don't. FPX, they messed up too many early fights, and they are now 10,000 gold down. WE, real credit. Great frontline play. They've managed to stabilize after that first game.
Gonna try and open up the curtains. Not the best angle again, it has to be said. Ace in the hole onto Jway, who does get taken down to about 20% HP. Ow. Vampire does eat a little bit of damage, but again, I don't think this Braum gives a damn. Nexus turret's under siege, one about to fall here. To the Baron Power, minions care. Goes looking, can't find it. Taeyun flashing cleanses away at the very least. Vampire throws out a bit of a present. Milky Way on the other side tries to get a bit of damage. He's going to get stunned up by Monkey, but can't really follow that well. Sheer, though, hit by the Spiraling Despair, burns out. And Karis again on this way has been so deceptively annoying. Another fear onto the zombie. Bit of stun on the cube, but they just don't have damage.
Milky Way can't get the resets. Flash forward from Jachi to get one, get the Caitlyn.
He's
feared again. Dies, will not be able to pick up the body. And WE, on their 6th time of trying, will walk away with a series win, going 1-5 at the start of Split 3.
Oh, it's wonderful stuff. Karis has had so many great fears this game. And as it ends up, WE will reverse sweep in the best of 3 to claim their first series win in summer.
Milky Way's return.